The Vikings, thanks to a dominant defense and record-setting performance by Irod, tamed the Bengals at US Bank Stadium.
Bengals can make things interesting. Plus, they get the third quarter kick. That's Fant. Lost the football. It's Rodgers again, off and running. Oh, my goodness. He runs it back for a second touchdown today.
The offense wasn't so bad either, as Minnesota beat Cincy 48-10. To talk about the record day, here are the fellas.
Well, thank you, Quality Control, for that awesome open. It was a joyous day. It was one of those days when you're watching it at home, you love it. But what's even better are those that were live at the game. And that would be the two guys to my right, those lucky bastards. I didn't get no invite. The one and only Tony Bell at the top right, Sir Purple Encyclopedia, Bill Dunkel at the bottom right. I'm going to start with you, Tony. Thoughts from you just being a fan live at US Bank Stadium today. What was it like being there, seeing that?
Oh, the best time. Perfect Sunday. Only thing that sucked is we were indoors, but we still got tons of sunlight. But other than that, to see this team play the way they did today, like they should have played the last 2 weeks, especially last week against the Falcons team that today got just their butts handed to them. You know, you're kind of like, okay, we could have done this all along. What took so long? You know, today was complete domination. Bengals had no answer, literally. On either side of the ball, they had no answer for whatever KOC and Brian Flores put out there. So, as a Viking fan, you love it.
Oh, it's one of those days where you don't get any gray hairs on your side. You just sit there. You're like, okay, I'm going to have a nice, relaxed Sunday afternoon. And also, I just want to add to it that highlight that you heard, courtesy of CBS Sports, the one and only Jim Nance. I thought they broke the CBS curse.
Yeah,
the Romo Wolfson curse. Vikings were 0 for their last 6 when those two broadcasters were covering the game. So the Vikings got that out of the way pretty much by halftime after Will Riker kicked that record-setting 62-yard field goal, and the Vikings were up 34-3. I think, Bill, you know, sitting there watching it as you were, it was really nice because we have said this so many times about the Vikings, right? Get off to the fast start. Yep. And it was interesting because normally when KOC and the Vikings win the coin toss, they usually defer. That seemed to be a more popular thing by teams. But he said, oh, no, not today. Gave Carson Wentz a chance to drive the team right down the field, Bill, and they scored on their first possession. I think that was a big thing setting the tone for the game today.
Yeah, that was huge. You could see the confidence level rise. And I talked to Tony about this at the game. That gives not only offense confidence, but the defense, whole team confidence right down the field. And picture perfect drive. And then when Rodgers, got his first of 2 TDs, we didn't know at the time, but right there the game was probably over. I mean, the Vikings they were dominant. But I will say, the stats through, I believe, halfway in the second quarter.
Misleading.
Yes, yeah. They were.
The Vikings defense was on you guys know the Vikings defense was on there more than the offense was, and normally that's not a good sign.
No, the Vikings
had a lot of 3 and outs, and that that still leads because it was scripted. That first drive, scripted. Normally they do pretty well. They get a field goal or a touchdown. What was impressive is how Carson Wentz really looked. I thought some of his throws were right on target, and he was aggressive where maybe JJ was not in his first 2 starts, going in the middle of the field where KOC's offense it has its most diversity, right? We saw him going to TJ Hawkinson a little bit more. Guys, I got to ask you this. Should Adam Thielen just retire now? Because I had him on the fantasy team today. And he dropped Max Brosmer's first freaking throw right in his hand. Yeah, what is going on, Adam? Where's the Thielen? I mean, that's an aspect I know we'll get into later. But, I mean, out of everything that we saw today, I think my perspective is the most impressive guys, and let's give them their due. Tony, I start with you. The defense was they were like, I mean, you talk a speed index, 1 to 10, they were playing at an 11 speed level, and it's show. Jake
Yeah.
Browning is running for his life. He made some nice plays today. You wouldn't notice it by the stats, but Browning escaped pressure, got the ball off. The Bengals in the beginning, in the first half, were moving the ball. It was just those turnovers.
I think for the most part, once the Viking defense settled, once they got that touchdown, once Rodgers got that pick six, it was over. Basically, Flores let the dogs loose, and if we were watching the game, and we noticed right off the bat those young defensive linemen that the Vikings have were putting a ton of pressure, just them, on Browning, Jalen Redmond, Levi Drake Rodriguez, Ingram Dawkins. You had,
All noticeable.
Jonathan Allen got a fumble recovery today.
Yep.
And that was another thing too. The Bengals could not hang on to the ball for their life.
Butterfingers. I think Butterfingers should
Yeah.
sponsor the Bengals.
They just couldn't.
Right?
I mean,
5
and
turnovers.
then the second touchdown from Rodgers, he just punches the ball out. It rolls right to him. He gets up and runs with it. We're kind of like, what the hell's going on? And I'm looking for a flag, and there was no flag. So I was like, wow.
I mean, honestly, Bill, I think Miles Price did a nice job special teams-wise rebounding today. But, if they need be, if Isaiah Rodgers gets a chance to return kicks or whatever, I think we saw on those returns, the minute he gets the ball, you're not catching that guy. He's got really – it might not show clock speed-wise, but it shows game speed-wise. He just blows by people.
Yes, he does. And that's in Flores – I think Flores said that's the guy he had marked because he's seen untapped potential that other teams were not seeing. Remember, he's the same guy that got suspended for a year. And goes to Philly last year.
He was for gambling, right?
Yep. And goes to Philly last year and wins the ring. And then when he is signed here, I think a lot of people thought, who?
We weren't sure. Because he didn't play a lot. Like, we were like,
play a lot.
We're not sure. He's got good size. We saw some of the statistics. Quarterback ratings were a little lower, but we weren't expecting this, Bill.
No. When I got, I was telling TB, we were undefeated against Cincinnati all time here. Believe what is it, 6-0, and only 2 of those, meetings have been close here in Minnesota. Those have been blowouts, and every time there's been a blowout win over them, they've gone to the NFC Championship.
Wow. That's a little foreshadowing, Bill Dunkel.
Yes, 1977, 98, 09, 17. And I brought this up to Tony. And we'll see how the next 2 games go first. But this got a little eerie today about just to hold these first 3 games. A little eerie back to 2017 with Bradford and Case Keenum. Because remember back then, Bradford, hurt, and the season's over against, Bradford plays against the Bears. Season is, probably over when Case comes in. They're losing that game.
Yeah.
And he comes back and then they go on that run, then the next week they lose in Pittsburgh, but then they went on the run. So we'll see. I mean, Carson Wentz, I thought he did what he was supposed to. And I'm going to say this because I'm going to disagree with Phil Mackey and Judd and those guys and a lot of other people, I think. We don't know what J.J. McCarthy, and by the way, I'm a huge fan of him, but I brought this up to TB again. This is why I wanted Aaron Rodgers here for 1 year. I wanted a veteran for 1 year. I thought there was just a lot of pressure to put on that kid after what happened last year with Sam Darnold. There's a lot of pressure, and the game is going fast for him right now. And I don't think having a head coach that won't let him loose and play his type of game, that's holding him back too. And just a lot of stuff going through his head. And you could see Carson, was he perfect? No, but he's not going to be perfect. But you could see he's a veteran. And
also, Bill, just to add to that is that Carson's not he didn't do the things that Carson's done before, right? Yeah, you see the statistic right there. Thank you to CBS Sports. He became the first quarterback to start for 6 teams in 6 straight seasons. So, 6 new teams in 6 straight. We weren't sure what we're getting with Carson Wentz. He grew up a Viking fan. All the nice stories.
He could flop on next Sunday.
Yeah, but the Vikings always seem, right, Bill, to get guys like this. It's through their history. You mentioned one of them, Case Keenum. We can go back to Randall Cunningham, similar
Yeah.
kind of scenario, right? They always seem to find these guys, Gus Frerotte, that come in and they seem to play their best seasons in Minnesota. I mean, Brett Favre was different. You're talking about a Hall of Famer, although the year before, when Brett was in New York, he didn't play too well.
The year before, he looked like he should have retired.
Yeah, he should have retired, right? So they come to Minnesota, things start going well, and you know what? If JJ isn't ready, and there was a story that came out, I think his fiance said this, Tony. Now I ask you this, where she said that JJ's had a lot of things going on mentally.
He does, yeah. He's got a ton of things going on.
Newborn baby, boy, Rome McCarthy.
And that's where, when we say that he's a young kid, he's got a lot going on, that's where we have to get on KOC to dumb down the playbook, simplify it. He's a young kid. It's KOC, he won today, but he's got an ego. Let's just face it. He's got an ego. He thinks anybody can, run this offense. But when you think back,
takes time.
Look at what he did to Josh Dobbs.
Yeah. And that's a fact. You cannot take that back. Josh Dobbs looked like Superman, and then he was told not to run the ball.
Right.
And then what?
And like I said, I brought this up to somebody else yesterday. How much did JJ play behind center at Michigan?
Yeah. That's
directly behind center. He was comfortable with pistol.
In a game, in an actual game, not practice.
Right.
Not preseason, which he barely played anyway.
In the games at Michigan, he was in pistol. When he made plays, he was in pistol. I mean, they're going to have to come to the league and get under the center, but guess what? His plays were made when he played.
Exactly, Tony.
Yeah.
Right, Bill? They need to do that more. Do some pistol. Go to his strength. Good coaches put in the player's strength.
Exactly.
If the Vikings somehow go on a winning streak, win these next two, okay? And Carson Wentz just plays
game manager.
Good enough.
Game manager.
You can't take him out. You just can't.
No.
You just can't. That's nothing against McCarthy, but you cannot, because I think the vets on this team would rebel.
It's a tough situation.
Well, I think also, too, if you play the next two games and you somehow get a lead like you did today, it's possible against Cleveland. Pittsburgh,
I'll tell you what, the Cleveland game scares me, boys. Cleveland's defense, we can say all we want about their offense. That Cleveland defense has played in every one of the games.
Okay, Eric, you're the only one on this panel that was in love with the Green Bay Packers.
But it's not even the Packers, Tony. Every game that the Browns have played so far this year, they've dominated defensively.
They have.
And against our offensive line, that is still Civ-like, all right? They gave up 3 more sacks today. All right, and we saw what Atlanta did.
By the way,
Atlanta lost 30-0 to Carolina.
By the way, those sacks today came from 2 people: Brian O'Neill, Michael Juergens. Okay, Darisaw is going to have to block Myles Garrett.
That would be a hell of a matchup.
So you still got 3 other guys that you got to block, but you got to. Here's what you do. You use the same formula on Cleveland you used today on Cincinnati. You do the same thing on Pittsburgh.
But I guarantee you the Browns defense isn't giving up 48 points against the Vikings. So the Vikings got to be smart. Yeah.
I said to TB at the game, it's the best thing that happened to the Vikings today is for many reasons, but Cleveland winning that game will wake them up when they play.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, right. And the Vikings are going to have to take it serious because the Browns just beat, what some so-called experts predicted to be the NFC North champions. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
I hope not. There's a few others out there, okay? So what I'm saying is, exactly, Bill, the Vikings need to look at that tape and realize their offensive line is going to have to play better than they played all year so far. Even the Falcons, the Bears had sacks today. The Bengals had 3 sacks. That Vikings offensive line's got to be ready. The Browns are going to be coming.
Well,
you know what though? The sacks are going to happen. You can't stop anybody. I mean, we're playing Pittsburgh next week, and I'm sure they're going to send the house. They're going to get some sacks too. But Pittsburgh cannot stop the run if their life depended on it. And guess what we did today?
Run the ball.
Jordan Mason, get ready there in Dublin, Ireland. 150 yards.
I just hope they stay out of the pubs and don't get too much fish and chips.
Here's the thing.
That could be a problem.
Here's the thing: they're playing now the next 2 weeks here against Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco, and both mobility are 0 right now.
Yeah,
True.
And that's going to help.
But Bill, just to counter that, but both of those guys have also won Super Bowls.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
If you don't get pressure on those two guys, then you're in trouble. You're second.
Well, you remember we played Rodgers last year in London.
Yep.
And Van
So
Ginkel,
it could be. I'm sure Flores might run that same offense, that same defense.
Yeah.
Different though. Rodgers has got he's got Pickens, right? George Pickens.
No, he's got Metcalf.
No.
DJ Metcalf.
DJ Metcalf.
Pickens is in Dallas now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I was watching Dallas. Yeah.
Jalen Warren is sneaky good out of the backfield on those dropouts.
I think the elephant in the room is going to help that offense is Jordan Addison. So
yes,
that's right.
That. And because let's face it, let's get to that. Let's segue to it. Then we'll get to our good, bad, and ugly. We're going to take a look ahead to good old Dublin, Ireland, and hopefully the Vikings can behave themselves and not try to chase too many hot-looking gingies with green eyes.
Vikings have never lost in Europe or Asia or anywhere outside the United States.
Never. That
Never.
is a big Vikings rule. Vikings rule Europe like they did back in the day.
Regular season, any season. They have not lost outside of the United States.
And am I correct in assuming this too, Bill? I think I looked at this. Both those games are road games on the Vikings schedule.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, the road games. Yeah.
Good job, schedule maker. They should. I mean, the Vikings are playing the only team. First time a team has stayed in Europe for 2 straight weeks, so they should have gotten that benefit of getting their home games back at home. And
the second time we're playing both Pittsburgh and Cleveland overseas. We've played them before overseas.
Hey, by the way, this is also we beat 2 curses today. The Romo Wolfson.
Yeah,
and Jim Nantz. The first time since 2013 we won with Jim Nantz being the play-by-play guy.
They mentioned it on the telecast.
2013.
Jim Nantz said he missed one of those. Jim Nantz said, I don't know what he's probably doing golf, right? I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or whatever. Jim says, hey, I didn't take all the heat for that. That's Romo.
Can I say something? Here's the ironic part of everything today, except for the Chiefs game. When we lost the Chiefs by a couple points 2 years ago, it's ironic that when we've had Romo and Nantz, they've been blowouts, right?
Yeah.
For the opposition today, blowout for the home team, the Vikings.
About time we changed that.
And by the way, can I just say one thing? I brought this up to TB, and I'm going to stay by it now and stand by it. I was wrong. I think a year ago, I thought for sure he was gone, traded. They cannot trade Jordan Addison. The simple fact they don't have a number 2 wide receiver on this team.
No, they don't.
Let's get into that, Bill. Let's segue into that because we mentioned that earlier. I watched the game. Very little separation. Look, they're going to put 2 guys on Jettas.
We noticed that too.
Even T.J. Hawkinson, even when he made his catches, the guy was right on him.
Yep.
Carson had to put it in the perfect spot, right? And what's crazy about that touchdown there? Thank you by Quality Control. Again, the photo. Courtesy of CBS Sports. That's the first touchdown for T.J. Hawkinson. I think it was against the Bears back in 2023. So that touchdown has some meaning because if the Vikings are going to do anything this year, he's going to have to be a bigger part of the offense moving forward, especially.
Both tight ends got touchdowns today. Josh Oliver got a touchdown.
Yes, he did. First drive of the game,
Josh
Oliver did. And that's a good sign because KOC's offense is predicated beating you down the middle, and that's where TJ Hawkinson's got to help because if the other receivers, guys, like we've mentioned, aren't getting separation. Now, Jalen Naylor, I saw a few plays where he was wide open.
Yep.
Kirsten was under pressure, didn't see him. Out of all of the receivers that they have now, Felton's really a non-factor at this particular time, so you got to take him out of the equation. Adam Thielen's got to get his you-know-what together, guys. I mean, I really – he's been horrible.
He's been horrible. I'm wondering, though, with Addison coming back, that actually might help him because he's now going to get – I mean, it's going to be Jefferson 1, obviously Addison 2, Naylor 3. Yeah. But those guys are going to get, the top 2 for sure are going to get the bulk of the coverage.
So you're saying he's going to get like the 3rd or 4th defensive back, or maybe.
And if he can't beat that, then he better hang him up.
Well, remember they brought Adam back because Adam had worked with JJ.
Yeah, they did.
in the offseason. So it wasn't, but, and another thing too, now, Jordan Addison had developed a rapport with JJ.
Oh.
They
And
looked really good.
yeah, and for the first 3 games that and for when JJ's season started, he hadn't worked with Hawkinson. He hadn't worked with Jets. Jets pulled a hammy in training camp. So, he was kind of behind the 8 ball. And the coaches, the offensive coaches, especially KOC, should have knew this to put this kid in a better spot.
Yeah, I agree.
He should have called this offense against Chicago, but he definitely should have called this offense against the Falcons, especially after what happened today.
I said it to Tony at the game when we were first and goal at the 4, and I said to Tony, at first and goal at the 2 last week, they didn't run.
No.
This week they run and they score a touchdown running the ball.
That's another thing, Bill. Thank you. I didn't put it down on my notes over here. Thank you, Bill Dunkel. I give you the on-air host of the night award because I had it written down. But the Minnesota Vikings, gentlemen, scored twice running the football inside the 10-yard line.
I think
it can't happen.
I'm convinced he hates that. I don't think he likes that.
He doesn't like to run. He does not like running the ball.
But that's how you win football. You got to win those tough yardage. And what was nice about the last one, if quality control can find the picture, is the offensive line just literally spread the defense apart, and Mason just kind of went right through it beautifully.
I will tell you this from the angle we had for we're watching the game. I'm literally calling where they're going to run the ball.
Yep.
And I'm getting it right.
Yep.
Which is that's a little Tony. That's a little dangerous though. If we're
I'm like
where the plays going, I wonder what the.
I just you could if you know football, you know when these guys line up and you know the down situation. You're like I'm looking and I'm just like okay, and all day they were running either between Donovan Jackson and Darisaw, or they were running to the outside of Darisaw.
Got to know where your bread's going to be buttered.
Right.
And so the guys that are going to create those holes.
And right away, they got Darisaw back into game mode. I mean, Darisaw was high-fiving guys, and
he got a game ball. He got a game ball, too.
Yeah, I think, guys, the biggest story today, and as we head to good, bad, and ugly, yes, the defense. Yes, Wentz played nice. He didn't hurt the team. He actually looked competent. That was important. They ran the ball, which I think we said is important for them to do moving forward to control the clock, which they did in the second half, by the way. That drive in the second half, I think went to 7 minutes. There you go.
That was a 7-minute drive.
In the end zone. Touchdown, Mason. Look at that. Boom. Right in there. Thank you, quality control. But the bottom line for the Vikings is that offensive line is key for the whole season because it was so bad last year in tight moments in games. They couldn't run the ball into the end zone 5 yards and in. So today they proved they played that kind of bully ball. They did it well. They can build on it. Now you get a chance overseas in Dublin, Ireland with the Steelers. Let's see if they can continue that, drive forward, get those tough yards when you're first and goal, and let your running backs create the space for the wide receivers to get open. And that's all going to help everything out. And it's exciting to see. So Christian Darisaw, guys, could be the most important Viking on the whole team. Because if he can stay healthy, and if he can anchor that left side, whether it's Carson Wentz, whether it's JJ, whether it's Max Brosmer, he comes in, whomever is the quarterback, loves having a left tackle where you can count on and just take out the other team's best player, which he did today when he was in there. So great job.
What they have to do now is get, and I know Kelly was in concussion protocol. Get Kelly. I'm sure he'll play next Sunday.
I mean, Tony, and in fairness, for Juergens, other than that, he had the false start, he had one holding penalty. We'll get into that in the good, bad, and ugly because that's one area the Vikings will have to clean up for next week. He did have 2 penalties, had the one bad snap, but on run, as far as being a run blocker at the center position, he did very well today. He really did. In fact, if you watch on that goal line, the one where Mason did, he took out Jenkins, who's a stud for the Bengals. He had a sack today for the Bengals.
Jenkins was giving them fits all day.
He took Jenkins right out, pushed him where he had to push him so Mason could go into the hole. That was Juergens. who got that.
He had help though from Donovan Jackson on that
Sure
play
he did.
too.
Well, everyone has. Well, Donovan's a stud. Donovan's going to be a stud. We know that. All right, gentlemen, are good or bad or ugly? Then we'll do a game ball, and then we'll wrap this up so we can watch the Chiefs and Giants game here. So I'll start
Trust
with
me,
you.
you're not missing much in that Chiefs Giants game.
Okay, all right. Well, it's going to be an interesting finish to watch. That Chiefs. That's a must-win for the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs.
Bill, your thoughts? Good, bad, and ugly could be either one of the teams that fit this description. You can have multiple people in here as well if you want, and then a game ball.
I'd say the good would be Jordan Mason. The bad would be the Cincinnati Bengals. How do I put it? Offensive should be producing players, fumbling, bumbling, stumbling.
Turnovers. They just killed themselves all day. Killed themselves.
And ugly, Zach Taylor.
Yeah. Not a good coach. I don't think he's a good coach, gentlemen.
No,
I
I was
really
telling TV. They gave up.
Oh, they came out of the second half and they looked defeated. Just coming out of the locker room.
I mean, I think the one that really drove me nuts, if I'm a Bengals fan, is why didn't they just kneel it? Why were they even handing the ball off that second? Just kneel the Vikings weren't going to stop the clock. It was like 20-something seconds left?
Yeah.
Kneel the ball. What are you doing? And now, and by the way, I'm just going to say, I said this to TV. I mean, honestly, this is the thing with football. They could be 0-3 because I like the Jags a little bit. They should have lost to Jacksonville, dominated that game.
Yeah.
And they should have lost to Cleveland if Cleveland's kicker could kick.
Yeah.
That day, at least. So they got a mess on their hands with Burrow being out. That's
a huge blow, too. The Vikings caught a break, not having to face Joe Burrow today.
And the game ball, because there's a couple guys, but I think I know where you guys might be going. I'm going to have to get it to the guy that I think is going to make this team go offensively. And, well, at least, he's going to make the team go offensively because it's going to open everything up is Jordan Mason.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Big day today. Bill Dunkel, 16 carries, 116 yards, and 2 touchdowns inside the 10-yard line. I love to see that.
7-yard average. He had a 7-yard average.
7-yard average, gentlemen. 7-yard average. Tony Bell, your good, bad, and ugly, and game ball goes to.
The good goes to the Viking team. They had this was a must win.
Absolutely.
The rumors had been hearing that the locker room was a little defeated after that Atlanta game, and for KLC he had to prove something. They both did. Brian Flores, and they came out today. They proved that they are good. They proved that they are who we thought they were, and they put it to the Bengals. My bad, the Bengals. I'm ready to start calling them the Bungles because it just from top to bottom, even as an organization, they just can't get over that hump. They're paying Hendrickson, and he was a non-factor today.
No.
Yep.
Non-factor.
He got Darisaw.
They signed Dalton Reisner, and Levi Drake Rodriguez is just running around him, and Jalen Redmond is just like, wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Am I ugly? If I have to hear "Hooday" one more damn time,
Hooday.
I'm gonna punch the person that said it. You know what's worse than hearing Hooday?
How about
for those that don't know what Tony's, there is video on the page. Bill Dunkel, Tony Bell had a little fun at the Bengal Fan. So if you want to go check it out, please do. And like it, if you will.
And my game ball goes to, on the defensive side of the ball, Levi Drake Rodriguez on the D line. 5 tackles, 2 for loss, a huge hit down at the goal line.
Yep.
He almost had 2 sacks. If Browning was a little slower, he'd have had 2 sacks.
Yep.
But he was, and hats off to that whole D line today.
They played amazing. I mean,
they played good ball.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jalen Redmond has arrived, and Jalen Redmond is going to be a known entity in the NFL as one of the better.
Jalen Redmond is the real deal, folks.
And so it kind of lessens the blow, I think, guys, of Javon Hargrave going out. I think Hargrave will be back, so let's
He'll be
not.
back. He'll be fine.
But you know what's nice about this is think about it, gentlemen. An embarrassment of riches.
Oh, by the way, I want to put this out there real quick. Can we please stop with the bashing of Dallas Turner? He played his today.
Oh my God! Did you see how? Again, he should have had a sack too.
Yeah,
just the speed ratio of 15. It's ridiculous. He's going
22
to
years old.
He's also playing defensive end at times in a 3-point stance.
Yes, he's. That's the thing with Flores, versatility. When Turner gives him that versatility, he's going to be able to make big plays because that's speed. And as Turner keeps getting stronger, which I'm sure he's going to, he is going to be an explosive player. Absolutely explosive player.
So here's my question. We got Hitman back today. Did he help in a way also?
Yes.
Yes.
I know he tipped the interception and went to Rodgers for the touchdown. I know he did that.
Yeah, he did that.
Well, I think his presence was a big uplifting to this team.
Well, his fake blitzing, I think, faked out Browning a bunch of times.
I agree. Yeah. I think him also being there, Bill and Tony, helped set up the defense. He can help out, getting people in the right positions, noticing plays. When he notices it, he's communicating. And that having a guy like that back as a veteran presence is always a good thing for the defense. So
very few deep balls by the Bengals today. I think if Burrow plays, he's probably airing it out all over the field.
Well, he might have, but he didn't, thankfully, and we appreciate that. Unfortunately for the Bengals or the Bugle fans, they won't be seeing Joe Burrow for the next 2 months at least. So that's a bad sign for you guys. But my good has to be just the defense completely, utterly. I mean, yes, it's easy. We would all give an Irod the game ball today since he did something. But the defense held Cincinnati total to 171 yards, 12 first downs, and get this. This is winning football. The Bengals averaged 3.3 yards a play.
Yeah.
You're going to win a lot of football games if you're keeping your opponents to a 3.3 yard clip when the Vikings were averaging over 6 yards a clip. I mean, that is phenomenal. And of course, 5 turnovers to none. If you get 5 turnovers and the other team gets none, you usually blow teams out. And that's exactly what the Minnesota Vikings did. Now, the bad, yes, believe it or not, there is some bad that I'm going to associate to our Minnesota Vikings. 13 effing penalties.
Yeah, that's got to go.
13 effing penalties.
There was a lot of – we were sitting there. There was a lot of questions on a lot of those penalties. And, like, I'll sit at home and I'll be like, okay, where was the penalty? I'm at the game saying it even louder because I'm like, okay, they called false start on somebody and we're watching the replay and he never moved.
Yeah, well, the Bengals got screwed too because they called a penalty on the Bengals for a block down low, and the guy didn't even touch the Viking.
I was like, okay.
Zach Taylor's like, he didn't even touch anybody, and he didn't. The Vikings got the 15-yard call.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, first of all, who is he blocking? He should be trying to tackle.
Yeah. True. Very true. Okay, Adam Thielen, this is my message to you, Adam. You begged to come back to Minnesota.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be kind of a leader in that locker room. Well, you better start catching the damn ball. Because all I've seen so far in the first 3 effing games, and I say this because he's on my fantasy team as well, is you dropping passes. You dropped one in week 1. You didn't help out J.J. McCarthy, your buddy. This week, it could have given the U.S. Bank Stadium a huge standing ovation to Max Brosman. Right in your hands. Right through it. No one was on you.
Eric, are you in last place in your fantasy league?
I don't know. I might be after today. I don't know. It was a bad day. But Adam, wake up and be the Thielen we know. And now's your time.
I think he's 1 year here and done.
Yeah.
This is probably a swan song.
Ugly everybody has to be everything Bengals related. 5 turnovers, 53 yards rushing. You can't win football games when you rush it for 53 yards. 12 total first downs. you might be preparing to look at what the draft picks are for next year. And you're 2-1,
Okay.
but you could be out of the whole.
So
scenario.
does Taylor make it out this year?
No.
I don't
Well, I don't know.
if they don't make the playoffs,
Burrow factor.
I don't think so. But yeah, they have an excuse. That's an
Burrow.
excuse. But you know what's going to happen is the Jamar Chases of the world, the T. Higgins, the veterans. You know, they're going to speak out against this because you got to be better than that. 5 turnovers, come on, it's horrible, and you can't put it on Jake Browning either. This isn't all on Jake Browning. He wasn't as bad as the numbers look today. He really wasn't.
I mean, it's still early, but think about this. You look at the teams that will be looking for new head coaches. B-Flow's name is going to be at the top of a lot of lists.
And if I'm the Bengals, I'm hiring him immediately because they certainly need help defensively. My game ball, I'm going to give it to Will Reichert. Yeah. You know, quietly in this game, he set a Vikings record for longest field goal in a history of over 60 years of football. That means something. And yeah, it didn't have any outcome.
Wait a minute, what was it? 62 yards?
62 yards.
What was Joseph's kick against the Giants? Was that 61?
61 against the Colts.
Against was it
Colts?
No, it was the Giants.
It was against the Giants.
Yeah.
That's right. 61. So congratulations to you, Will Reichert. And that kick, guys, would have been good from like 68, 69. Easy. Might have been 70. I mean, he hit that halfway up through the goalpost. It still had room to go. So Will Reichert gets a surprise game ball in a 48-10 victory. Well, gentlemen, we'll be back. We'll be up early next Sunday. We'll be up early for the first game on that.
The next 2 Sundays.
Oh, we
for
got
the next 2 Sundays, we're up at the crack of dawn.
I don't like that.
Here's a funny thing, because my girl lives in California with you guys, Eric.
Yeah, so it's going to be real early.
So she's up at 6:30 to watch the game.
Yeah, I'll be having a couple.
And she's got a game. The Falcons are playing over in Germany. They're playing the Colts later.
Oh. She'll have to be up a couple.
So she'll have to be up at the crack of dawn.
We have back-to-back, 6 o'clock. Hello.
Who scheduled
on the weekend?
this?
That's when you're supposed to be able to sleep late, for crying out loud.
Who scheduled this?
Well, someone did in the NFL. But we will have a look ahead. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Warren, DJ Metcalf, TJ Watt,
Terry Bradshaw, Jack Lambert, Rocky Blood.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Steelers.
If you're really gonna scare me, bring some names from the past. You're not gonna scare me with what they got now.
By the way, gentlemen, very nice to see. Please fill me in. Someone was at the Gallahorn today representing Jim Marshall. Should have been probably, I would say, last week, but they gave it to Jared Allen. But nice that the team kind of gave that thought process.
Well, this was alumni weekend.
Yeah. I was disappointed what they did for Jim today.
Not enough, right? Not enough.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing too: you wore your throwbacks last weekend, but this is your alumni weekend, and you're honoring Jim Marshall.
Why wouldn't you wear it this week?
Carl
Eller was there. Did you see any of the guys? Carl Eller was there. Jim Nantz talked about talking with him prior to the game.
Steve Jordan was there.
Jordan was there.
But that should have been the halftime show, talking about Jim and what he meant for the organization and the team. Instead, it was the Corgis.
Yeah, they were running Corgis.
The Corgis are pretty popular, Bill. I
love the Corgis. The Corgis
they take over a building. You know, they're 5-star performers. But I get it. I understand.
Corgis should have
more
been
for the captain. Right, more for the captain.
I think we saw. I mean, Esra Tuaolo sang the national anthem. I saw Robert Tate. I saw Ted Brown. I saw Jake Reed. Bob Lertzema was there.
Awesome.
So they had a lot of former players there. This is alumni weekend, but a lot of the old guys were slowly losing them. That's the sad part.
Unfortunately. Well, for Tony Bell, for Bill Dunkel, for quality control, tremendous job with all the pictures and the sound and the opens and closes. We'll be back later this week to preview Steelers and Vikings, and then we'll have, after the game, our normal post game. So we look forward to that next Sunday as the Vikings head to Europe. So we'll have some fun. Everybody, enjoy your evening. Go watch the Sunday night football game. And, gentlemen, SKOL.
Go.
Thanks for watching the official Purple Skull Squad show for Minnesota Vikings fans. We'll be up early next week as the Vikings and Steelers battle at Croke Park in Dublin, Ireland.
I gotta
And stay
wake up
tuned for our
early.
preview
Great.
show during the game. May the luck of the Irish be with the Minnesota Vikings. Don't
It
forget,
will.
like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time. Skull!
4-1.
That was nice.
Very solid.
40 minutes clean.
Mhm.
Good job, boys. That was
Very solid. Blake was watching the games when I had back.
How's he feeling? Is he feeling better?
Yeah, he said he wants. I don't think he should go into work tomorrow. 10